This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Next up, we've got Vince backstage making sure that Trish Stratus knows to bring Linda down to the ring during his match with Shane. And then we see Michael Cole interrupt him to discuss Shane buying WCW, but Vince isn't interested in that. And then we see a video package sort of chronicling the rivalry between Vince and Shane, including Vince telling Shane he wished he'd never been born. What do you think of all of this McMahon infighting? Was this good for the show, do you think?
I think so.
I did too.
It was real, plausibly real. Obviously, Vince never thought Vince never thought that it was a shame that he had a son.
Oh, of course, no.
Come on. So it was personal. It was plausible. Well, that's Vince, he's just poor Shane. And so but I did like it woven into the fabric of the storylines and the show. This whole McMahon thing was, look, it was a hot topic. Shane buying WCW, allegedly, of course. We'd have somewhere along the way, we'd have matches with 4 McMahons in the corners. This match here was a very unique one, to say the least. And so, but I like the theory of doing reality-based storylines, and that was plausibly real.
That's really the reason I was asking is, you mentioned the prior WrestleMania. It was McMahon in every corner. Of course, WrestleMania 2000 is the one that Austin has to miss because he's out with that neck surgery. So we try a McMahon in every corner, and our follow-up to that the next year at WrestleMania is Vince versus Shane. And you sort of talked about it a little earlier that a lot of talent on the roster feel like, hey, I've been here working all year long. I need my WrestleMania moment, not only for history, but for the big payday. And then you see there's so much time dedicated to a McMahon storyline. Does anybody even dare bring that up to you and have sort of heartburn about that? Or do they understand it's his fucking company? What do you want me to do?
Nobody complained one bit.
Good.
They were afraid that if I slipped and said something about it to the wrong people and it got back to Vince, then all they're doing is indicting Vince for a poor storyline and featuring his family more than the boys. The thing about it is that McMahon was selling pay-per-views, and the more pay-per-views he sold, the more money the talents made, no matter where they were on a card. The pie was bigger. Their slice is going to be bigger if the pie is larger. And that's kind of how I look at it.
Let's talk about the sort of the backstory here. This whole feud with Vince and Shane started with Vince's disapproval of the job that Mick Foley had done as the commissioner. And then Foley made a decision to hold a 6-man Hell in a Cell match at Armageddon 2000. And despite his attempts, Foley was given full support by Linda McMahon. Not pleased with this result, Vince immediately demands a divorce from Linda. Shortly after Armageddon, it's revealed that Linda was rushed to the hospital suffering a nervous breakdown. With Linda now hospitalized, the board of directors appoints Vince as the new CEO of the WWF, which allows him the ability to fire Foley as a commissioner. With Linda now in a coma-like state, Vince starts having a very public affair with Trish, and at No Way Out, Stephanie and Trish actually square off, with Stephanie scoring the victory after interference by William Regal. On the February 26th Raw, the match was supposed to be Vince and Trish against Stephanie and Regal, but Trish wound up having sewage dumped over her. That's a real sentence. And then in the following weeks, Vince would continue to demean Trish, having her do stuff like bark like a dog or strip down in her lingerie, whatever. And then Shane McMahon comes back on March 12th, and he's immediately attacking Vince, only to be stopped by William Regal. And now we've got our match. It's Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon in a street fight at WrestleMania. Shane gets the win in 14 minutes and 12 seconds. These guys are potatoing the shit out of each other for real. There is some blood. They're going through Spanish announce tables. They're pulling out all the big spots. But what gets the absolute biggest reaction so far in the show is when Linda McMahon simply stands up from a chair and gives Vince a low blow. But when she went from being comatose to standing, the fans erupt. It's probably the biggest pop of the night at that point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. It was, it's what they wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's what pronoun boy again. I've been working Shivani too long. He hit him. Who's he? Who's him? Never mind. It's what they wanted. The fans wanted to see, because they knew that it just also shows you how much Vince was over.
Oh yeah.
And they wanted him to get his comeuppance. And they saw how Linda had been so wronged, and that Vince had disrespected her, and with this debacle of an affair that he let get on go public. So I always used to like the fact, I used to kid Vince about it too. How many times are you going to kiss? How many times are you going to kiss Trish tonight?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. He's thinking the thought cloud above his head. As many times as I want. Ha ha ha. So anyway, everybody got any more heat. People felt sorry for poor little Trish. She wasn't that little Jezebel. She was being taken advantage of and abused, so to speak, in a verbal kind of a way. So, but Trish did a role there very well, and it had to be an uncomfortable role, because what precedent were there for someone to be in her role, to be cast like she was cast?
Right.
And she pulled it off very well. So, tip of the hat to Trish on that deal. She did great. But she was always real smart. She processed information. She knew why she was there. She knew her role, as The Rock would say. And she did a phenomenal job in that presentation. Big key part of it.
Like you said, she knew her role, as The Rock would say. Let's move on. The finish of this match is pretty notable. It's the Van Terminator. So Shane is going to go, quote unquote, coast to coast and drop kick that garbage can into Vince's face. What's going through your mind when you see this? This is, your boss and your old broadcast partner and a guy you're in the office with every day in the trenches.
Every day.
And he's not a professional wrestler, and neither is his son. But here they are at the biggest WrestleMania ever, doing their best and doing a damn good job at trying to steal the show here. Meltzer gave it a 3-star match, and he was probably itching not to. But this was such a good story and so well done for what it was. It's hard not to be proud of these guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of hold your breath.
Yeah.
Because it's feast or famine. There's no retakes. It's not done on a taped show where we can go back and pick it up and edit it back in. It was feast or famine. You either hit it or you crashed and burned and made yourself look like shit. They pulled it off. And that's not, Rob Van Dam's an extraordinary athlete who kind of created that scenario.
Yes.
And he's one of the few guys that could really pull that off right, because Van Dam never came up short that I saw. He was always on his spot.
Yes.
And so you wonder, can Shane execute the coast to coast as effectively as the creator of the coast to coast, RVD? That's what you're wondering, because you can see the spot coming. I mean, you got Vince in one corner with a can in front of him, sitting in front of his face. RVD, boom. You just hope that nobody gets killed on it. But they pulled it off. And that's, again, as I said, that's not an easy spot to do. And especially for a novice. And Shane was a novice. He was just, he was a stuntman. He wasn't a seasoned pro wrestler.
Right.
He was more of a daredevil, for lack of a better term. And he pulled it off.
Amazingly well.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.